So now we would be doing a corporate presentation, PSM, and role of key technology in data integration. So for this, I would like to call on stage Mr. Pawan, CEO and Director from Sparrow RMS. Please come on the stage, sir.
Good afternoon. I'll take 1 or 2 minutes to set up the laptop. Good afternoon to all of you, and we are just setting it up. I am Pawan. I'm the CEO and Director for a company called Sparrow Risk Man Private Limited. I know most of the faces. We work with around 350 clients globally into EHS consulting. And we have two different wings now. One goes into EHS consulting, and one goes into core EHS technology and other technologies. And we are ultimately based into these two domains now. And when we started around 10 years ago, it was all a cumbersome journey, and I was alone at that point of time. So as of today, we have two divisions. EHS and engineering works together, technology and deep tech works in one. So as I said, 355 clients across globe, India's fastest growing company in this domain. We are 100% Indian owned company. Does it work? Yes, now works. So we principally work into four domains: risk, engineering, safety, and technologies. And I'll take a clue from the last panel that talked about technology, right? So as most of you know about us in consulting, I'll primarily focus my presentation today on technology. In EHS journey, when we started around 10 years ago, there were one or two companies which were established. There are many freelancers. And when we started, it was we got a lot of comment, and that whether we will succeed or not. But we are very proud to say that in the domain where we work, we are the highest revenue getter in India. This is an achievement that one's make as an Indian company, and that is something when we started this company, I was hardly having an experience of 4 years. We completed our 10th year recently in August, and with a CAGR of 90%. So this is something which is fantabulous, and this all comes with the team that we have and a great team to work with. So in last 10 years, what actually made us happen? That's the main point. So we collaborate four major points which allow us to grow at this particular pace. The first one is we started a concept called 3C, which is a complete cycle of closure. So when we work with EHS consulting projects, whether it's electrical project, fire, process, or sustainability per se, we have a core engineering team with us. So when we find an issue into your P&ID, we don't look back to anyone else. We develop it. We have process engineering team which do it for you. We are the only company who started CFD simulations in the beginning, which is one of the most common phenomena now in oil and gas. We started around 11 years ago, and even before we actually formulated this company on paper. Then we started ASAP. I was discussing with Sir what is advanced electrical integration and with process. So I have one thing to ask to all of you. If you have heard of a number of process incidents from Vizag to a number of things. Vizag is the most recent one, which probably every one of us remember. I was supporting one of the pollution control board member investigating that particular incident. So I was the one who was very much closely linked to that particular investigation. So we have different slides on it, but not today. So what happens? Chemical hazards remain same. It doesn't change with time. And if you're having styrene remains. If you're handling styrene 30 years ago, styrene was styrene. So what failed? The failing thing was either instrumentation or the mechanical integrity. These are the two things. And most of the factories, PSM is led by chemical engineers. I'm extremely sorry to say those has to be led by either electronics or the mechanical guys, because those are the two controllers which governs most of the risk. Right. So ASAP integrates electrical risk, instrumentation risk, mechanical integrity to process. That is the one thing we invented as a core thing. Then started FRAP. Most of you go with a lot of fire risk studies. What we did, we changed it to FRAP model, where we do first a basic engineering DBR for you, basis that we audit. Then what happens? You get the guidebook so that even you can audit your own self. We treat that as a greenfield, and then we continue the journey till your cost estimation for next 5 years if you are going to actually revamping fire thing, which is known as FRAP. And we are very proud to say that 3 years ago we invested every penny of profit that we generated in the last 10 years into India's first digital twin. Beyond Siemens, we are the only company to have that kind of technology today. And if the most common phenomenon in Indian companies is most of the board and directors takes a lot of profit out. We are extremely proud that we have not taken single penny of profit in last 10 years, and we have remained profitable every year. Right, few of the major clients, I'll not go to the client name. We have been very lucky to work with the best of the best clients. The reason of showing this particular slide is not about letting you know with whom we work. We just wanted to let you know that the consulting companies are as good as their clients. If you don't ask, you'll never get. And we have delivered what everyone has asked for. So this is what our learning is. We learn together with the client and deliver at most to all of them. So these are 5 verticals. One is safety and risk, second technology, engineering, electrical fire engineering, and advanced training. Today we'll focus on tech. So now coming to the EHS or the PSM role of information, Sir was telling, and the last panel was actually discussing a lot on technology perspective, data and real-time data analytics, analyzing that. But before that, I have a question to ask. When there was no technology, nothing, even not an Excel sheet, were you not operating your factory safe? Were you? Say yes or no. So what changed? Why did you need technology to work with? That's a fundamental question you should ask before buying or investing in a single penny, that do you really need technology to solve something? So the answer is yes, only for 2 reasons. One, accuracy, and second is speed, nothing else. The rest, everything your brain was capable of doing so. Then comes the most fascinating words that everyone uses, AI and machine learning and artificial intelligence. Those are nothing but copying your brain. The way we think, we are just trying to make the computer think the same way. So the moment you look at EHS or a PSM per se, the PSI remains the fundamental thing by virtue of which you take any decision. Any decision means any decisions, right? So the better the PSIs are stored in single version and updated, that remains very, very crucial to make any EHS logic, whether you do it manually or you do it with an algorithm. If you're doing it with algorithm, the computer should manage the accuracy. If you're doing it manually, then all the files, all the drawings, all the asset details should be kept updated as per the management of change protocols and revision controls. Second thing, for the most complex elements, say management of change, we are working with few major companies on digitalization of MOC. Not digitalization and digitization are 2 different things. I would like to clarify before we move ahead, because I have been listening since morning. Digitization is keeping your information in a digital way. That means you have a motor, you call it a motor, that motor runs on 1500 RPM, that is a digital information kept into a database. That is digitization. Digitalization is when you use a number of real-time information for analytics, that is digitalization. So one thing, when we go out of this room, we'll use these 2 words very precisely and accurately, such that we will demand right thing from the right vendors. Right? Complex PSM elements are more crucial. Take the case of styrene gas leak in Vizag. Those kind of precision process risks are governed by very precision data sets. So it becomes very important for all of us to keep those data intact. Right. So few of the key process parameters we have just written for you. It says process information, process flow, piping, instrument diagrams, PNIDs, process chemistry, and so on and so forth. The upper and lower battery limits for the process. It can be infinite. There is no limit. There is no PSI definition what has to be included into PSI and what not be. But for a computer or an algorithm, this is the 4 buckets you can segregate everything. The first goes in diagrams, then comes core numbers, asset layer information, and layout driven information. I'll give you an example. Diagram is like PNID, your single line diagram, your core instrumentation schematics. Core numbers are asset, machine data. which the kind of pipe size, the pipe grading system. Right? Asset layered is where the location, where the machine is, and so on and so forth. And layout driven information, those information which is layout linked, which is your hazardous area classification zoning, your QRA information that are actually laid on layout. Even if most of the layout that you use in your factory currently or the PNIDs are dead information, you cannot go beyond that paper or the PDF, right? You again go to a number of departments, get those data. So for a computer algorithm to understand, every of the PSI can be bucketed into 4 things: diagram, core numbers, asset layered, and layout driven. This is what we are solving through tech. If we are able to solve it by tech, it is done. So everything that we do, we understand containers. There is a new term, containers into algorithms. You'll be surprised to see our understanding of IT and coding being an EHS company first. So this is the beauty that we bring, right? Now think a case that how our brain actually operates. Take a case that you are signing an MOC, you are approving or requesting for an MOC. How you look for? The first and foremost thing you look for is where that particular MOC has been. What is this? It's fine now. So, I'm sorry for this, but this is a bit disturbing. All right. So, how our brain operates? The moment you get to know about management of change, the first and foremost thing is you look for diagrams. You need to know where that machine process equipment is installed. Second thing, what is the placement? What is the distance that we have? What is the nearby more hazards like piping, anything else that you have? That goes from the diagram side. Then comes numbers, you look for parameters, the spec sheets, the width, the motor RPM, the lubricant type that being used into the bearings. Then we go to assets, and then we go to layout for more information. And I'm sorry for my side I'm also a sponsor, I'm very sorry. I own it any which way. Right. So the thing is, so the last one is layout. So any problem that you solve by your human intelligence, actually using these 4 parameters, then what we as a process engineers do, we refer PNID. What all those information that you get from PNID? Nothing except your process instrumentation diagram. So what happens? Look back, again your brain map. You hardly get much. And from the PNID, you reach out to n number of departments to get single set of information, multiple set of information to solve one problem of MOC. Even the spec sheets that you'd like to know for the typical pump to be replaced is very hard to get, stating that it was installed 20 years ago and we hardly have the information, right? Now, again look back, this is PNID. Do we all agree that most of the PNIDs are dead PNIDs? These are dead for most of the PSI information. You then refer n number of docs, diagrams, teams to get everything at one place to take one decision. So it is not only about decision, it is being accurate decision and how fast you take. That's where algorithm and programs comes into place. So they are mostly static information and hardly of any use. They are very useful but not of great help. Now, if a human brain needs to think, if we broadly classify 3 sets of information, that those will be the static information, which changes hardly with time. They are quite static in nature. Second, workflow information, where you have KPIs, audit, checklist, MOC protocols, PSI and everything, which is driven through a typical workflow and a typical process method. And the last one is machine runtime data, which is real-time information. If you have these 3 sets of information with you, you can solve how many kind of use cases by your human brain? How many cases you can solve? Can you guess? How many problems you can solve if you have these 3 information with you at a single point in time? The answer is any. It's infinity. So what if we innovate a software which have these 3 as a foundation and solves your most of the problems? This is where Sparrow innovated IndustryOS. There is one of the best software across globe. We are not a global company yet. I mean, we work with 13 countries any which way, but we established into only 3 cities of India. So we innovated IndustryOS, stating a trademark concept called ILOL, information layered over layout. So when most of the Indian companies talk about technology, we actually walk the talk. And it is the most cost incentive, money intensive thing to do. And the best of the brain from ITs and every best of the best colleagues are working with us. And we remain a non-funded company. Every penny came from our own pocket. Right? So ILOL is a foundation which is information layout, is a trademark innovation by us. It has machine information, it has PSI layer, logic layer, and dynamic data. So logic layer is one thing which we are selling it to you. We are asking you what you need. So you have the platform, you call it for a logic, we develop that logic, give it to you. Then what happens after 6 months, you again create another logic, another problem solution. You may call it a work permit system, you may call it as a PSI store system, you may call it as a MOC system, but those are logic layer. So we are saying, buy a platform with ILOL and keep on creating your use cases forever. There is no stoppage. And this is not only being used for process safety, this is also being used in the most complex manufacturing installation for operation management as well. We are not showing it that particular case to you. Right? So create logic processes which is error-free, create data points to collect information, then digitalize and then digitize. So how it looks like, we have two softwares. One is principally for creating digital twin. We have 5,000 machines which are ANSI based. We just drag and drop in your layout and create the whole digital twin of the factory. It doesn't stop at machines. It has piping, instrumentation, including, you will be surprised, your fire extinguishers. And I see a presentation on detectors. So it accumulates every asset which is feasible. If you look at a similar software from Siemens, they will limit yourself only to process. And that too, that is a very basic software to say, but they have the big name which is Siemens. But we are way better than them, and we are also covering BOP, which is balance of process. So we are covering inch of your factory's perspective information sets. So it doesn't stop here. Then what we have? We have connections. We have all types of connections feasible into a factory. Those are also ANSI database enabled. When I'm repeating ANSI data set enabled, that means you have details of every process parameters. You cannot see very clearly on this particular screen. It has your process parameters, spec sheets, design parameters, all clubbed into one table. And then you will see that why we need this many information. We are saying that we are ready with this kind of level of information. For maybe you're going with MOC, you may not need all this information. We just switch off those features for you. But our software is ready to go to any depth that you can even imagine. Then comes a lot of machine layer, which includes process, engineering, your HERA, do's and don'ts, boundary limits, anything that you can imagine is right there in the software. This is the second software which you get as a user. You don't get the drag and drop privilege that is we implemented for you. You get your calendars, you get your workflows on the top, which is not very clear on this particular screen, talks about different use cases and features which creates workflow over it. Every icon that you see is an OPC enabled icon. It can connect to any remote sensors, real-time information and workflows seamlessly. So as I said, we are not only covering process, but we are also covering complete balance of process interconnections. Any kind of digital connections, sense integration, any architecture that you feel like, from LoRa to Sigfox to Profibus to Profinet. So we are the core innovators for digitalizing and creating a digitalization journey for your factory, for your premises, any sector, any type. Now I'll just leave you with a 3-minute video. That's how I'm still left with 2 minutes, so I'm taking 1 extra minute for you. So this video talk is a very old video, it's a 2-year-old video when we are actually deployed only for 7 industries that point of time. It talks not only about EHS, it also talks about operation maintenance. Just listen to it and see that what we have done.
Industry digitalization is no more a choice and it is inevitable. India and most of the other developing countries except China are at the bottom of the pyramid of digitalization journey. It is a journey and we are at a perfect point to start, which shall boost our industrial output in line with IoT and Industry 4.0. We are pleased to introduce IndustryOS, the A of digital transformation. It lets you digitize and then digitalize the complete factory and facility, including commercial buildings with all their functions, machines, people, process with inclusion of operation, maintenance, environment, health and safety of people. And the same shall have different interface with relevant information for different teams such as factory, regional and global corporates. And it starts with the most basic thing of our facilities, the layout and data. IndustryOS works as your layout as base. As we remember things, perspective, location, IndustryOS allows you to just drag and drop any machine tag areas. The machines come preloaded in IndustryOS database, including spec sheet design parameters, EHS elements as per national and international standards, and the machine knows its connection details. Once deployed, all 3 functions, operation, maintenance and EHS, get their own user interface with their utility Task Monitor Planner, but the data remains collaborated. Module 1 Operation. Advanced but simplified operation scheduler, planner and tracker. This module is well integrated with EHS and maintenance. Thus, it inculcates and inherits data from all facets, allowing most advanced data analytics to improve productivity and OEE and EE. Module 2 Maintenance. Imbibing the concept of TPM and WCM. Maintenance module enables you to improve productivity, request and track maintenance activities from planning stage to closure, including integration of EHS, inventory, VMS. Module 3 EHS. The EHS module inculcates foundation from world's most accepted standards and indices. Imagine the value it shall generate with real-time integration with operations and maintenance into it. It offers you 20 plus EHS elements, from incident reporting to work permit, training, environment, chemical management, GRI compliance, LOTO, CAPA, MOC and many more. It comes with data-driven foundation and shall include features like video analytics and Google Assistant. Interestingly, your IndustryOS shall be unique as it is 100% customized to your need and requirement. It comes with 3 layers of information system: global, regional, corporate and plant level MIS. Also different interfaces for all 3 layers. With a world-class and most interactive and comprehensive dashboard and people management tool, this software becomes a necessity for your organization. It is scalable with AI, machine learning and IoT, capable of integrating to your smart machines. Let's start the Industry 4.0 journey. Global access to data reduces travel and the ROI is extremely quick. Imagine all your global plants on this platform and you can track, compare and enhance plant utilization, maintenance and EHS performance. It remains 100% customizable and you can always buy any standalone module or as a package. The future is here.
We are leaving no stone unturned. I'll not go to the use cases. This is basic. Use case is always yours. It cannot be sold or suggested by any of a third-party vendor. So we are solving the biggest of the biggest cases with ease and with help of technology. We work with, summarize it with you. We have a stall outside. You can see the demo, and you'll love it to see, because as an Indian company, probably you will never expect even to create these kind of softwares. Trust Indian softwares, bring every penny of India back to penny. Even don't buy a software which says 50% invested from outside country. We are the best. We, as Indians, we can do the best things in a lot. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
So thank you so much, sir, for the information, for the presentation. Okay, so to facilitate, I would like to call on stage Mr. Mrityunjay Mishra, AVP Sourcing and Distribution from Reliance BP Mobility Ltd. Please come on the stage. Can we have a huge round of applause for both of them?